end. So thank you all for coming to this week's Shelter in Studio, the last of 2020. We are very excited to be with Karen Hanmer today. Karen Hanmer's artist-made books are physical manifestations of personal essays, intertwining history, culture, politics, science, and technology. She utilizes both traditional and contemporary book structures, and the work is often playful in content or format. Karen's work is included in collections ranging from the British Library and the Library of Congress to Stanford University in Graceland. She has served on the editorial board of the Bone Folder as exhibitions chair for the Guild of Bookworkers and as frequent exhibition curator and juror. She offers workshops and private instruction focusing on a solid foundation in traditional binding skills. So I'm gonna pin you, Karen, and away we go.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Sarah, for hosting and for inviting me. It's good to be back. I taught my first workshop at the San Francisco Center for the Book in 2006. And I go away for a while and come back. And beginning in March, I will be teaching for the center for the second Wednesday of the month for a while. So I can show you models of those at the end, and I'm looking forward to it. And I can't see any of you. Well, I can see 2 of you, but I know that there are 60 of you here so far, and I really appreciate you spending some time with me this afternoon. I know you have other things you could be doing, so it's great. It's great. Community is appreciated, especially now. So I'm going to show you some of what I've been doing this year, show you some pictures of my studio, focusing on what I changed so I could teach online, which I assume is no different than anyone else, you know, so no secrets here, but little peek behind the scenes of what it probably looks like where anyone is teaching online for you. And also, I had some more free time at the beginning of the year before I started teaching so much, and I made some fish parchment bindings, so I'll show you pictures of those and tell you a little bit about the process of preparing the fish skin for that. Here we go. And it's not going again. Okay, here we go. Here we go for real. So there's a couple things I've been doing this year. The big one is online teaching, processing the fish parchment and making bindings. And then at the beginning, and I don't know if there's going to be time to talk about this, but I was selling these really long medieval books from dictionaries because I made one for an exhibit that was not nearly this long, and someone liked it and wanted me to teach it for them. So the last thing I did before everything shut down was have somebody spend the weekend with me figuring out a prototype and how that workshop might go. So my studio is in my home next door to the bedroom, and here it is. And already you can see I did not tidy up for you, as I probably would not if you came here, because you might as well see what it's really like. So here's some board that I haven't put away yet, and it's out in the hall. Again, right in the door, you know, who can get rid of some good cardboard that you might use to pack something. So there it is. I've got these 2 big work tables that are the same height as the board share. And it's great that there's this one continuous surface, but I do wish I had more standing up places to work in the studio instead of sitting down places. So I feel mixed about that. But there's good storage for leather, and then you see some leather on top because I'm going to teach a small full leather binding workshop at the very beginning of the new year, just with some people I've worked with before who were kind of used to each other, to see how that would work online. And if it works well, I'll do it later in the year for real. So there's more storage over here, sewing frames, finishing presses, bricks, the regular stuff. Non-skid shelf lining, which is so useful. Board shear. And of course, lots and lots and lots of priority mail, shipping boxes for workshop supplies. Here's my one of my two standing up workplaces. The other one I'm at now, it's become the online teaching command post. So flat files. And I'm going to talk about ergonomics as I take you through the studio. So I've got these anti-fatigue mats at all the workplaces, at all the standing workplaces. And here I just finished medieval binding. One of them is there still with a brick under it, and I'm starting to get together my models and supplies for Ethiopian. So you see that. And I've got a bunch of these, they would be knife racks, I guess, magnetic knife racks, if they were used not by a bookbinder. And I have them in a bunch of places. And I wish brass was magnetic, because there's another couple things I really wish I could get to stick up there. Oh, hi, Bridget. I can see one person of all of you, and it's Bridget. Nice to see you. I've got a nipping press, and I've got this step stool because the handle, the wheel on top should not be any higher than your shoulders, and it is. So now I just step up there, and I have never stepped down and fallen off, so that's great. This room is, the studio opens into it, and it's what my friend Amy called the place where you keep all your unfinished projects, and I kind of wanted to die, but she had a point. It's also got another nipping press, woodworking stuff I didn't put away yet. You can see some of my backing hammers. I really like backing hammers and chisels. Quick print that I use infrequently enough that I still have the format for the type drawer posted on the wall. And then a sink and darkroom timer left over from my photography days. And lots of books, as we all have, and more boxes for preparing workshop supplies. That's all new this year. So here's some of my most used reference books for traditional binding. And I've got my work here, some design bindings I still have. I also collect. So at first it was design bindings, and as my interest shifted, now I collect historical models and historical examples, and just lots of structure models, either that I've made to figure out or show in classes, or things I swap with other people who teach. That way we both get to build our collections more quickly than we would otherwise. And it's just fun to be surrounded by stuff that your friends made. Guillotine, I was lucky to find a petite one, and it's got that big piece of PVC pipe to make it easier to pull the handle to make the cuts without hurting myself. My inkjet printer, which is an Epson P5000, and my childhood desk where little Karen used to do her homework, and now I just store office supply kind of stuff there. And you're looking over the edge of the job backer. Then my desk and my computer, and under that gray box is my scanner, so I can put stuff on there and not damage it. And then the desk where I used to keep all my correspondence that I needed to respond to and things I needed to do immediately, but now it's kind of my woodworking place. So fat chance ever that stuff will get done that I need to see to remember to do it. Some presents I'm sending to my first bookbinding teacher, Scott Keller. They're supposed to arrive today. Hope they did. And my teaching setup. So laptop that I'm talking at you into right now, a larger monitor so I can see what I'm doing and see the little boxes with the students in bigger. That lamp is just for my use. It would cast a shadow, but these LED floods, I think they're 200 watt each. The light is really nice and gentle and pretty shadowless when it's bounced off the foam core. I've got 2 Logitech Brio webcams. One is on this stand that I'll talk about in a minute, and one is on different tripods depending on what I'm doing, where those need to be located. The thing that the camera is attached to began its life as an Omega B22 XL and larger. I'm sure that means something to some of you who did photography. So I can move it up and down pretty easily. And another anti-fatigue mat, and it's got several sets of color-coded pieces of blue tape, so I know where to put the tripod for if I'm sewing or using the Sharfix or whatever. I have been acquiring and gathering together all my small stuff because space is really at a premium. I've got a space that's about, I don't know, 16 by 20, 14 by 20 underneath the camera on this space. So I've got this little tiny sewing frame. It's Jeff Peachy made it for me based on his travel frame, but it's a little smaller. There you see the camera on one of the tripods with its arm sticking out of it and an umbrella to bounce some light back. And Bob Walp, W-A-L-P, at Chester Creek Press, makes these small finishing presses for travel, but they're really great for that space that's at a premium underneath the camera. And I just treated myself to a petite real finishing press. So it's been really nice to have something real under there. Tricks I need to do when I round and back for the camera, instead of having the book right, it's centered in the screw, like you're supposed to. I have to have it shoved way over to the side where that blue tape is, so that the camera can see it large enough. So not great for the book perhaps, but good for the camera, good for the students. Fast and furious with the crazy illustrations, just hoping that people can understand, because there's no going up to them and, you know, showing them. When I sew in bands, I've been using this number 12 thread, and they just look crude and horrific, but, you know, people can see, so that's great. Have been beefing up my handouts since I'm not, well, I'm sort of there, but not there. Just there's as much information as possible, making more models. And then I've got most of my handouts and the things I make during the workshop for sale on my online store. And some people just would prefer to do their work and learning privately. So I think that's been a success for that population. Okay. So the fish. So my friend Peter has been doing this for the last couple years, and just posting about it and encouraging people to do it. And I really didn't want to do this at all, but you do what you need to support your friends. It's what having friends is about. So my friend Peter happens to be, of course, Peter Verheyen, the book art listserv guy. And as usual, the bone folder, which still exists online, and the book arts web and the accompanying listserv are the portal to anything you would want to know about the book arts. So you can follow these links to figure that out for yourself. But I'll go through the process with you briefly. So there is precedent in my family for just having a whole bunch of fish hung up wherever you are. So maybe it wasn't such a stretch after all. This is Bob's grandfather, but I always loved this picture. And there are pictures like this of his dad and of him. But this guy was the greatest fisherman in the family, I think. So I don't skin it myself. I get the person at the store to do it. So we see there the fish that'll get eaten, and the skin on top, and flip it over. It still has a bunch of flesh on it. So scrape, 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 and I'm scraping with the back of a paring knife. So it's the dull side. So scrape off the flesh, and there's this black and white stuff, some kind of tissue that needs to go away also. And then the scales need to come off. This part is kind of fun. And it's a lot of scraping to do, so I do it over a period of days, and in between it's in the refrigerator in some soapy water, just a shot of dish soap in there. And it really is no more disgusting than anything else we do with the adhesives and things that were animal products or whatever, no more disgusting than cooking. I thought it would be gross, and it is not. Then when everything is scraped off, I pin it to some foam core. There's some remay in between so the foam core doesn't get too nasty, and put it out in the sun to dry. And there won't be sun in Chicago now till May, but I did all this last spring and summer. And they look different. That's bass on the left, then barramundi, then we have some salmon on the right. In the center, it's just like off the rack. And to the right and left of that, one had a little bit of tea in the soapy water overnight, and one had a whole lot of tea in the soapy water overnight. And if I use one for a spine, I back it with paper. This is the thinnest Ruskin Mill textile that I had on hand. So I made a few bindings. The structure I've been using is kind of like the simplified binding, or a Bradle, or if you prefer Bradell binding, but simpler than that. The spine wrapper has no turn-ins. It's just flush at the top and glued to the first and last leaves that have been reinforced, and then the boards get glued to that. And you see there that I've casually gilt, just with a tacking iron, some gold foil, the head cap to reference an end band or whatever normally would be going on there. So sewn on thin cords. The cords are laced through the spine piece, which is great. There's none of this hoping that it lands where it needs to. It pulls right down where it needs to be. As you see in this little test bit that I did on the left, there was a little touching up to do around where I punched the holes. So as always, thank goodness for watercolor pencils. And then here, the spine piece is anchored in place just where it needs to be, so there's no guesswork or trauma involved in gluing it down to the book. And these boards were also gilt in this casual way with the real gold foil and the tacking iron. So it's extra shimmery. It was kind of shimmery already in a silvery way. I think you get a sense of that in the picture here, but now it has some gold in it too. I did some blue lines, told some blue lines on the spine to mirror what was going on with blue sewing supports and the label. And this stuff is not even, so it really, 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 really doesn't want to be tooled. And this is another one I made. A big difference working with the fish is they're small, like compared to the goats that we work with. So a big fish, a big grocery store fish would be 3 pounds, like a huge grocery store fish. But still, this book is only 5 inches tall. And I couldn't cover it in one piece for this limp case. So I sewed two pieces from two like big slices from the same lake trout together. And you can see, I think you can get a sense of how translucent it is down at the lower right. A pair of my beloved dividers. Then trying to stamp the title on the fish skin, which it still doesn't like. Why would it, right? Because it's not at all smooth. And then a third one I made. The title of this was A Natural History of the Most Remarkable Quadrupeds, Birds, Fishes, Serpents, Reptiles, and Insects. And I just love that enormous, grandiose title, so I wanted to use additional words from it. And again, showing the gilt head caps and the colored sewing supports. And that's it with the fish. So with these, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to show you this if it in fact works. Okay. I'm going to stop screen sharing at this point. Do we see me?
We do.
Okay, good. So, are there any questions yet?
Well, we have a fish skin particular question from Margarita, who's been following your work on Facebook, and she's wondering how much more difficult it is to work with than cow leather, the fish, and if it ever stops smelling like fish.
So, hi Margarita. So it's like working with parchment, not like working with leather, but it's pretty thin. So it's way easier to use than using vellum from calf or using goat or, yeah. It's unforgiving like folding paper. You fold and that's it. But easier than its mammal alternatives. And does it stop smelling? So I've had, you can probably see behind me over there, a bunch of them hanging up, and they smelled a little bit when I first put them up. And then if they still seem to be oily, I would take some alcohol. Then I started using acetone because we couldn't get alcohol with high alcohol content for a while, right at the beginning. And after I did that, it would smell again for a little bit, but no, I can't smell anything up there. They've been up there for months. So I've been holding off putting them on in a portfolio because I don't want to concentrate whatever odor there is. That was a long answer. Sorry. Our time is limited.
That was a thorough answer. And there's another question about the fish, about handling. The fish skin looks really delicate, is it?
Oh, you mean when it's, let's just look at some. And I think my fish skin expert is on this call. So
yes.
I hope I'm doing the process justice. So you can hear it, right? It's kind of crinkly. It's translucent. What was the exact question?
Is it delicate? How does it hold up? It's on the book to handling.
Oh, well, you know, I haven't put it on a utilitarian kind of book, but it's really strong. Peter sent it to Tim Barrett to see what would happen with it, and it's his paper folding machine, and I think it's still out there going in Iowa, you know, months later. It's very strong.
All right.
Hi, Priscilla.
Sarah wants to, one more fish. Does fish skin have a grain?
So theoretically, this is like its spine. So the same as leather or working with any parchment, You can choose to respect the animal by having the spine be the spine, or you can say, hey, this costs a lot of money. I don't have much of it, and cut it the way you want and deal with that.
Peter says it's off the chart tear and fold strength compared to parchment from goat. So
isn't that exactly what I said, Peter?
Yes. Well, we're coming up a little short on time, but Sarah wants to know if you're working on any new books you can share.
Yes and no, because they would be for the Guild of Bookworkers juried show, and now there are always these rules with juried shows that it can't be visible at all.
Yeah.
So no, and yes.
Stay tuned. There are a couple of sort of tech questions that I'll get answers from Karen and let you all know later. So anything, what, you were gonna show some models, Karen, for some upcoming workshops?
Oh, yeah.
Because you teach quite a lot.
A lot, yeah. And you can see all this stuff through my website. So the next couple would be Ethiopian binding. Here's a cutaway. And end bands, you would use the nice silk. I would use the crude number 12 linen thread. And coming up for the center, March, April, May, drum leaf with the breakaway spine that doesn't really when it's a cutaway, sewn boards, and I guess this is better for this camera. Triangle book, and I don't remember what month, but that will be up on your website soon.
It will be. I'll be posting drum leaf soon, and then the other two will follow. Cool.
Oh wow, it's nice to see everybody. I didn't get to see you because I was sharing screen. It's such a treat to see everybody.
Well, it's been a treat to listen to you, Karen, even though I know you don't think so. So thank you so much.
Oh, Adrian and your baby. Hi, everybody. Amy, hi. Shane.
We'll have time in a sec to say, I'll just wrap it up and say thank you all for coming and for sticking with this through 2020. We're going to take a break of a couple of weeks for the holidays, and we'll be back on January 7th with Luis Marina Ruiz, and that event is now open for registration. And so hope to see you all in a couple of weeks. I'm going to stop the recording.